Hi everyone, you're welcome to my channel. Today I'll be drafting a notch collar crop jacket and these are the measurements needed. So now I'm going to mark 5 inches down on my pattern paper. Then from that point I marked my 5 inches. I'm going to mark the full length of this crop jacket, which is 17 inches. So now I'm going to roll those points straight. So now I'm just coming down by 1 inch. And this is for my folding in allowance at the front. So I'm just going to roll straight. So now I'll come in by 5 inches on the line I have here, just like this. So now I'll connect with my row straight. So this is for the lapel part. So now I'm going to measure my shoulder measurement, which is 16 inches divided by 2 is 8 inches. So I'm just taking it there. Then I'm going to making use of 3.5 inches for the neck wideness, the neck width. Then I'm going to be making use of 3.5 inches also for the neck depth. So I'm just sticking it. So now I'll use my curve rule to connect on both 3.5 inch points for my neck measurement, just like this. So now I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. So I'll just mark a straight line there, just like this. So now I'll be coming down by 8.5 inch. My armhole measurement is 17 inches divided by 2 is 8.5 inches. So I'm just going to tick it there. Then I'll connect straight to that point that I have my 8.5 inch. So I'm just making sure that it's up to that 8.5 inches. So now I'll connect straight just like this. So from that first line, I'm going to come down by 11 inches. This is from my bust line. Then I'll come down again by 14 inches. I'll roll a straight line on both points. Forgot to label this earlier on. So this is my shoulder line. This is my center front. This is the bust line, under bust line, and waistline. So now I'll divide what I have on my armhole by 2 to get the midpoint. So I'm just going to mark it there. So from that midpoint, I'm going to come in by 1/2 inch. So like this, I will connect with my curve rule. So now I'm going to mark out my body measurement divided by 4, just like this. So now I'll use my ruler to connect to those points I marked out for my body measurement. If you don't want this to have like a bead shape, you can just make it straight, it's optional. I'll mark 1 inch for my allowance on each line and connect this way. So now I'll come up by 1.5 inch from my under bust line. You can actually come up by 2 inch if you wish. So now I'll just stick it there to get the break point. So now from that place I marked the break point, which is 1.5 inch up. I'm going to come out by 1 inch and I'll roll straight down. So this particular place will be serving as my button point. I'm just going to connect it this way. So now I'll place my ruler just like this and I'll connect straight to my shoulder line just like this. So I'll come up a bit by 4 inches. So that is the reason why I left the 5 inch before taking the normal body length. So now I will come in from that line by half inch. Then I'll connect straight to that point I marked the half inch. And this is just to make the collar sit perfectly. So I'll connect with my red marker. So this is our new line. So now I'll be marking 3.5 inch, which is the wideness of the neck of the back. When I'll be cutting, I'll just mark the 3.5 inch there. So this is what I will be making use of. Then from that point I have my red marker. I'm going to come out by 4 inches. That is how wide I want the collar to be. So I will slant it like this. Don't cut it straight. When crafting it, don't place your ruler straight. Place it in a slant method. So now for the neck part, I'm going to come out by 3 inches, and this is to get my lapel area. So I'll connect straight just like this. Then from that point, I'm going to mark down to my break point. I'm going to give it the shape I want. You can give it straight shape, you can give it a bit a curve roll shape. So now from that point, I'm going to come in by 2 inches. I'll just stick it there, 2 inches. Then from that point, I marked the 2 inches intake. I will slant my tape just like this. Then I'll mark 1.5 inches. So now I'll connect to both points. And I will connect from that place I have my 4 inches to the 1.5 inches. So this will serve as my collar. So this is the allowance, and here the button part. So now I'll cut out the front. So now I'm done cutting the front part. I will label this as my collar and cut out later. So for the back, I mark 17 inch for the length plus 1 inch for the folding in allowance. So now I will mark out 8 inches for my shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement divided by 2 will give me 8 inches. So now I'll be marking 3.5 inches for the back neck wideness. Then I'll come down by 1 inch for the length. So now I'll connect with my curve row just like this. So this is it for my neckline. Now I'm going to come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. I'll connect straight to my shoulder line. And now I'll mark out my armhole measurement divided by 2, which is 8.5 inch. Then I'll connect from my shoulder slope to that 8.5 inches and connect it this way. So from my shoulder line, I'm going to mark out my bust point, which is my bust line. Then I'll roll a straight line there. So from that same shoulder point, I'm going to come down by 14 inches for my under bust point. So I'll roll a straight line. So for my shoulder slope, I'm going to measure what I have there. I'll divide it by 2. So from this point, I'm going to connect this way to get my armhole. So this is it for the back. For the back, there's no need of taking in ½ inch intake. So now I'm going to label this my shoulder line, my bust line, then my center back. So now I'm going to mark out my body measurement just like this. And then I'll connect to each point with my ruler. And then I'll mark out 1 inch allowance on each line. So now I'll connect to the point I marked out. So this is my allowance. I'll cut out the back parts now. So this is it for the front and back parts. Remember I said I was going to cut out the collar, so I'm just going to cut this out. So this is all for our notch collar crop jacket. Please subscribe, like and share. Thank you.